Hey, hello everybody. This is Rich, and this is another episode of Blind Hope with Rich. Anyways, hey, a lot has been on my mind the past week. Time draws closer to my surgery where I will have my right eye removed, and well, a little nervous about that. But I'm trying to stay positive. Trying to stay positive living with, being blind now after 52 years of vision. Um, Getting diagnosed also with emphysema, and I there's days that I just feel I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to die, but I just like to do a replay or restart somewhere. But here's the reality: I've realized I need to go through what I need to go through to get where I need to get. And I don't know where I need to get. That's not my knowing. I have, things in my head, ideas, dreams that I would like to, go and visit this place or go check out this or go eat at this place or, all sorts of things. But the reality is, for me to have any desire, I have to stay positive. I have to keep the positive mindset. I got to keep going no matter, when I'm down and out or when I'm having just a super hard day at work. It's not worth giving up and throwing in the towel because like I talk about in my other videos, we face life on life's terms, not life on Rich's terms, life on you know Susie's terms, not life on you know Alan's terms or anything like that. It's we face life on life's terms. That means we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days, and we're going to have everything in the middle. So we just have to find a point. I believe truly, we have to find acceptance and believe that if we're living in the moment, things are as good as they can be. They are awesome right now because right now there's countless things that could go wrong that could be mess me up to make me sick, make me make me die. I mean, honestly, but living in the moment, I'm recognizing that it's okay if it's this good because this is great in this moment. I was sitting talking to my wife just a second ago, and I was telling her I'm just I don't know if I feel it or not, and then it kind of struck me that maybe that's when you need to be getting up and doing a video and sharing with people that some days you have hard days. Life on life's terms doesn't guarantee we're going to have rainbows and sunshine and warm sunny weather, and nah, it's not. you know I would love to say it is, but sometimes it's just not. you know and that's okay. I heard this statement from a lady who had cancer, and she was bad off with the cancer. It was winning, unfortunately, and sad to say, it did eventually take her. But as she was standing on a stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, because it was on TV, this lady made this such a profound statement that it's something that sticks with me all the time. And anytime I start losing that positive mindset, I just got to remember this lady and how, she had it, she wasn't going to win her battle. She knew it. But she said this: I don't have to wait for a good day so that I would be happy. I can be happy whenever I want. It's just a matter of feel it, decide to be it, and do it. You know, we get out there, we start having some fun. If we're not having fun, do something else. You know, some people ask me, Rich, what do you do for fun now that you can't see? A lot, let me tell you. I just earlier today, yeah, 3, 4 hours ago, maybe at most, um, I got to. I returned home from a, uh recovery convention. I got to make sure I don't say what recovery group because I can't violate anonymity, um, and it's important to keep the autonomy of that group. So for me, a recovery convention, and it was so amazing. There were speakers there that were just on fire with the positive, the love, the energy, and it was just really just lifting me up. I'm just like, ooh, my spiritual bank is getting filled. And I tell you what, it was. And it's still, as I sit and reflect over on this past weekend, I'm just like, man, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, you know. And here's some even better things. I don't get to talk to my son because I'm so proud of the young man he's become. He's 29 years old, and Skylar is somebody that he knows. Gets up and he puts on his suit and he goes to work, and he earns his money. Right now, he's working 6 days a week, about 60 hours a week, and trying to get these stores, with trainers in them, get these stores with new hirees for certain positions, get people in the company moved up, and trying to do all these things at all these different stores because he's like I don't know if it's a district manager or if it's a regional. I don't know. He's up the ladder a little ways because he's in charge of different stores in different towns, and he's even traveled just recently out of state, trying to help out some stores up there in this other state. And I'm just like, man, I'm so proud of my son because he did not. When I was his age, I was up to no good. I mean, I was not living life on a healthy path. I was living life on what do we feel like doing today? Probably something illegal, probably something that is unhealthy, probably, nothing good. Nothing good. My son went the other way, and he is excelling. He has a game plan, he has a direction, and he's doing it. And he's staying positive. Man, I admire my son. He is just a rock star. My daughter, Haley, she just doing it. I mean, she's having a tough go right now. Her physical health has been challenging her, you know, dealing with some of the people she worked with because she's a shift manager at this establishment that she works at, and she has to battle with dumbasses, you know, that don't understand that if you're getting paid to work, you work. You don't stand around on the phone. You don't sit down and take breaks. I mean, you get up and you do work. And for some reasons, they just can't quite get it through their head. And so, my daughter gets off work and she'll call her dad and, Dad, I'm so frustrated. This and this went on, and I feel bad about this and this happened and and on top of it all, I got a headache and my back hurts or my kidneys hurt or and I'm just like, oh, poor girl. Oh, one of my little people have come up here. You guys could see him. I don't know if he got in the picture or not, but that was Cisco. He's our newest member to the family. He is 13th of March. He'll be 6 months old. Time for him to get a little fixed. And he's an indoor cat. We try not to let the cat get the worst. But I got another cat named Jack. But anyways, I was sorry. I was drifting off. Oh, there he is. Let me get him. Got him. I got him. Look, everybody. This is Cisco. Cisco, say hi to everybody. No? Okay. You don't want to say hi right now. He's shy. He's like, Dad, put me down. Dad, put me down. Okay, go ahead. So, oh, he's just going to chill. That does not happen very often. So that's cool. Anyways, positive mindset. How are we going to keep that positive mindset? We're going to think about all the positive things that have been going on in our lives. We're not going to sit there and think about, oh man, I did this or I did that or I shouldn't have done that or I shouldn't have done that. We own it. We recognize it. Move on. Don't beat yourself up over things if you make a mistake. Learn from the mistakes. That's what mistakes are for. To learn from. Some people, sometimes we got to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times making the same mistake before we get the idea that this may just not be working out for me. I may need to try a different path. And that's okay. It is what it is. But we got to just keep trying. We got to just keep going. You know. And when we learn from our mistakes, okay, and we can. Oh, here comes that again. No, I'm not making that mistake again. We've learned, we're growing, we're moving forward. Find the positives. Like for me, how I said we went to this recovery convention, my wife and I did. We left on Thursday, and we didn't go to the convention on Thursday. It didn't start till Friday, but we went on Thursday, and I got to go up to my folks. They live about hour and a half north of me. And I got to spend, we dropped our dog off. It was this little miniature Dachshund named Sheldon Cooper. Yep, that's right. And he just has this awesome personality. It's so cool. But he gone and stayed with Grandma and Grandpa, and we stayed the night up there with them. And then we got up Friday morning and we hit the road and headed on up north to a town in Nebraska. And we just started having fun from, the moment we got to my folks, we really started having fun because we were like, freedom! And off we go. Whoosh! And we're ready. We're hyped up. We're pumped up. We're going. We're going. It gets to the end of the night and we're both like, plop, down. It's, it feels so good to have the positive energy. And something else that happened, I got to go to this convention. I got to talk to people that, I haven't seen in a year. I haven't, gotten to, say hello to, give them a hug, say, what's up? How are you? How have you been? What have you been doing? And all this stuff. Because, they're in different states. They're living their lives. They're going, they're going, they're going. They're having positive, and, sometimes challenges, I heard some, talked to one lady who last year missed this, recovery convention because she gotten in a bad accident. And she's, she's got a few years on me. And, she was there this year. And when my wife told me, this lady, she's here. And I'm just like, you see her? And she goes, yeah. I was like, well, what are we waiting for? And off should we go. We go catch up to the lady, and the lady's she remembers us. She's so happy, excited to hear us and talk to us. And it just made us feel so good. Sadly, when we didn't find her again, and because the convention had probably 1,000 plus people in it. Got to see another friend of mine whose wife had just recently passed away. I'd found out, and got to give the man a hug and tell him I'm here for you, brother. I love you, man. And staying positive, and just letting all that energy that's in this building, because all these people, it just feels like, and it's a feeling, I don't know, if it's fact. They say feelings aren't facts, but it just felt like there was so much positive energy from all the energetic and happy voices and all the talking that everybody's doing. I mean, it was just wow. You know, right now my spiritual bank is definitely filled. I'm definitely feeling the positive. You know, I got it. What 9 days? Not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. I'll be. Oh, there's this. Oh yeah, look at that little guy go. Um, I'll be having the eye surgery. And I have been keeping most of the time. I'm not going to say I'm flawless, but most of the time I'm keeping a positive mindset. How am I doing that? with a sense of humor. Yeah. First part of the sense of humor was telling people, well, they might as well take my eye. I'm not using it. And that makes some people laugh, would put a smile on my face because I love making people smile. I love making people laugh. I love, them having the energy, and experiencing that laughter instead of, oh my gosh, doesn't that freak you out? Yeah, I'm getting my eye, I feel like I just go in with a soup spoon and be like, here, you want to just, take it out, or what are we doing? And that kind of grosses some people out. Sorry if it did. But otherwise, I'm going into this, with the final outcome. One will have a great benefit because my eye socket and my temple and the side of my head and kind of a fingers width above my eyebrow line. It Hi, baby. It hurts. It's unpleasant for me. So I try, to accept that this too shall pass. And right now I'm not feeling the pain, and I'm very happy about that. And other days I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is not going to go away, and I'm just looking for the positive. What's the positive? Well, it could be a lot worse. I could be in so much pain that they have to take me to emergency room and give me an IV of a pain medication, and well, I don't like those. I don't like the pain medications. I don't feel right about them. Yeah, I know some people out there definitely need them. I try not to be one that definitely needs them. Sometimes though, I do, and I'll own that. But the final outcome for this is going to be, with fingers crossed, that I'm not going to be having pain in my head, you know, frequently. I don't know if I will once in a while or not. Um, the other thing is, after they get done, they're going to pack my eye and sew it shut and everything, and leave it like that for 30 days. And they're going to unstitch it and take all this pressure cause stuff out, and so that it heals up is what they're doing in those 30 days. And also they're putting all that pressure gauze stuff in there to maintain the shape of the eye socket so it doesn't lose its shape. And I'm like, okay, cool. That kind of has me probably the most scared part, is because I'm uncomfortable. I have significant claustrophobia, and also I don't just I don't know the idea of my eyelids being stitched together. That I don't know about how that feels in y'all's head, but to me it just makes me a little bit. But hey, the positive is when I get to that end of that 30 days and they unstitch those eyelids, and they take that gauze stuff out of my eye and everything, and it's right there. Bam! They're going to immediately. They said they would immediately refer me to an ocularist. That is the person that makes the glass eye, which technically nowadays it's not actually a glass eye; it's a disc, kind of like the lens on a glasses, except it's made to fit, into the eye socket area. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. Let's go with that. What do we got going on? And so that's going to happen. And I have this twisted sense of humor, y'all. And the more, hopefully, you guys are, liking, subscribing to my, videos, and you're going to get to see more and more of these. I hope, and you're going to find out I got a twisted sense of humor, and it's going to include the design of my fake eye. I've had, the idea of, well, I could go with the Terminator eye, the red eye, and with the darkness around it and everything, and take my glasses off and look at somebody, and I'm looking at them through you, and give them the weird, EBGBs. Other things are, I've told people in past videos. I don't know if y'all caught those or not, but I am a like Harry Potter super geek. Me and my wife both are. Matter of fact, we started talking on Harry Potter's birthday. By the way, that's July 11th. Um, and we started talking. We started talking. And over a couple years, we finally moved in together, and everything is still beautiful. I couldn't have found a better partner in my life. You know. And anyways, we decided to get married, we decided to have a themed wedding, not a traditional in the church kind of thing, you know. We had a Harry Potter wedding. We had the, you know, if anybody has seen any of the Harry Potter movies, you see in the Great Hall these candles that look like they're hanging, just floating in the air. We had candles that looked like floating in the air at our wedding. We had, you know, the candies that, you know, were from the candy stores. We had the potion bottles. We had everybody got these little wands that the kids had made, and they'd made them look like really pretty cool wands, you know. And me and my wife each had cloaks and everything, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing that brought so much joy. My boss, she came as a person. You know, my boss is, you know, runs or owns and runs the treatment center that I'm the program director of, and she came as the oh, I the word slipping my brain right now. The one who can read fortunes and you know see the future, and you know, Professor Kalani, I think. I can't remember exactly how to say her name. Ugh, that makes me feel bad. I need to go back and read the book some more or listen to the book some more. Also, one of my best friends, who is the executive director at another treatment center in a neighboring town, he came dressed as Professor Gandalf, headmaster. And I was just like, I got the bosses of two treatment centers, both dressed as Harry Potter characters. And it was just the greatest thing. I thought, you know, that alone made my day, you know. And it's things like that, having those positive memories, y'all. Think about those positive memories, you know. It creates that positive mindset. You keep building. Don't let the one positive memory and it drifts away. So to follow up the positive Harry Potter wedding, what did my wife and I do? We got on a plane a couple days later, flew to Orlando to Universal Studios, checked out the Harry Potter theme parks, you know, and we spent 4 or 5 days there, I think. And it just happened to be that when we got married, it was also that time of year that they were doing Halloween, you know, when we made it there. And so we our passes and everything also got us into all the haunted houses that were in the evenings. Uh, so we did, you know, the theme parks all day long, and then we gone and did haunted houses in the evening. And I mean, it was just so positive, so marvelous. I mean, it was just. Then I had a little bit of vision left, you know, not tons, but I had a little bit. But you know, it was okay because I didn't honestly. I don't think I honestly needed it. Well, I might have preferred to have a little bit of the vision when I was um, getting on the water taxi that takes us from our hotel room. It's just water taxi, you know, little boat, and it takes us right on up to the entrance to the Universal Studios, and yeah, that was really cool. And we're looking, you know, this year will be our 5 year anniversary, and we're hoping. Don't know if we'll be able to, you know, depends on funds and other things we're doing, but hoping, you know, in the months to come that we'll get ourselves all together and we'll hop on the airplane and go back down to Orlando, check out the new theme park they have, which includes the new Ministry of Magic. Uh, has that part of Harry Potter in it. So we'll be having to have plenty of time to do 3 theme parks, one a day basically, I think is what we're going to try and shoot for. And we'll see how that goes. Um, other than that, you know, I don't know. We'll see what the future brings. But, you know, it's a matter of finding something positive in your life. You know, so many of us are, you know, can feel the depression. We can feel the midlife crisis. Nope, I'm not having one of those. We're skipping that. Um, feel my cat is feeling playful. He still has claws. Um, we're still working on finding positives. Just being with my wife helps me to have a positive mindset because she is so caring and so loving, and she treats me with so much respect. And I pray that she feels that I'm giving her what she's giving me. Because when I'm having tough times, feeling kind of beat down because it's taken me a long time to even get to this point with the vision loss. I was not used to that, and here I am, still trying. I ain't gonna give up because it's just another chapter in life. So I can keep moving forward. I can keep enjoying what I got going. I can keep, finding new adventures. My wife is always says when we're getting in our truck and we're heading on down the road, she goes, "Trek and Donkey off on another whirlwind adventure," and I'm just like, "Oh boy, okay." So, anyways, yeah, it keeps it interesting. It keeps smiles on our faces. It keeps positivity in our lives. You know, Remember what I said that lady said on the stage. You don't have to wait for a good day to be happy. You know, I get uh, one more day off of work before I go back, and then I'll be working plenty heavy. Because sadly, one of my admin assistant office manager, Michelle, she ended up having some internal problems. So she's in the hospital right now, and I'm praying for the best for her, of course. That she's well and back to work soon. Because me and my coworker, we would definitely like her to be there. She is a big piece of the office, and she also helps. Keep an eye on letting me know what's going on in the office I'm not in that day because I oversee two offices. Um, one office is real simple because it's pretty much just my uh, two coworkers and me, and then the other office you know uh, in Emporia, it's a little more challenging. It's got more staff, more clients, and it's got a lot of energy. It's got a lot of stress. It's got a lot of people going through challenging times, But the whole time, talking to him about positive, talking to him about what's the positive, what can we do to get you feeling better, and then I turn the tables on him sometimes, and I really get him, I'll be like, well, what would make it worse? And people they immediately stop because our subconscious mind tells us we're gonna, they're gonna ask what can we do to make it better. Well, what can you do to make it worse? You know? And then you can have the answer of how to make it better by answering how to make it worse. Well, if I didn't get to talk to a therapist, if I didn't get to see my children, if I didn't, talk to your therapist more, see your children more often, talk to your folks more often, you know, do as much as you can to move forward, move up the ladder at work, all these things you can do all these things. You just have to take and make that step. Now, moving forward, start with the littlest step. Now, the littlest step is all it takes to move forward. You don't have to take this big old step out there. Some people are, I go at it, just dive in with both feet. I'm like, good luck, good luck. I'm just going to take a step in, and then put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. I'm going to keep my positiveness. Whether it's through the surgery, whether it's through how am I going to live with the vision loss. Thank goodness for this company called Alpha Point. They are training me, and man, they have an amazing team up there. They got people that'll teach you activities of daily living. They got Braille. They got mobility training. They got assistive technology training. I mean, they got so much, and they have staff that understand the loss of vision, that understand what we feel, they are willing to, if it's a really tough day, man, they are willing to talk to you, and at the same time try and lift your spirits by getting you to learn something new and be like, oh, wow, look what I learned to do, Something could be simple as, I learned how to I can make a full course meal, or I can sew a button on a shirt, and take my word for it. You want to see what it's like to sew a button on a shirt without using your vision? Give it a try. I guarantee you will poke yourself in the finger. Yep. You have to learn how to work around all that stuff. And, it can be done. It absolutely can be. How do you sweep? How do you vacuum? How do they'll teach you all that. They'll teach you, how to read Braille. And I have not yet gotten to the point of taking on the challenge of Braille. I'm still trying to learn how to use some of the assistive technologies that they've gotten me, or that Voc Rehab has gotten me. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, I really hope you guys get a chance. For those of you that are, in the Midwest, and you can reach out to Alpha Point. They got a satellite office in Kansas City, Kansas, I believe, but they're mainly based just inside of Kansas City, Missouri. They got a great complex, great facility there. It's really good. I would definitely recommend it to people. But anyways, you got to remember. Let's. I want to go back. I want to keep drilling this point because I just don't want people to think that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be okay just the way I am. No, you're not. You're not going to be sitting on the magic feather and just being all all the time. It's not. It doesn't work like that. I wish I could say it did, but it's not always happy feelings. Not always do good things happen. That's why we are blessed to have a memory that can, oh, I remember this, or oh, I remember that, or oh, I heard this song and it made me think of this, or, all these things that it can be that could help move you forward into a more positive mindset. I would love for you guys to sit, after this video, just sit and think for a little bit about the positive things, because we can come up with 10 positive, fabulous moments in our lives. And then we think of one negative thing, and it feels like it's just like this sledgehammer, or this wrecking ball that's just flying through, knocking out all these great memories. And we're just like, oh, this happened. Okay, it happened. Like I said earlier, you're probably beating yourself up on it more than anybody else will. You've got to step up, own it, and move on. Don't sit and let yourself get beat up by yourself. You know, everybody else is moving on. Why don't you move on? You know, get back on a happier path. That's the biggest thing I can stress to you is to get back on a happier path. If you're feeling happy, it makes work easier. If you're feeling happy, man, getting some good music going and everything, man, it's amazing how much easier it is to, do housework. Oh, dreaded thing. I know it's dreaded, but you can do it, and you can do it with a smile. You just have to figure out, I enjoy listening to this kind of music. It gets me pumped up. It makes me feel, yeah, let's do this. And off you go, and you're cleaning floors, you're dusting, you're doing dishes, you're laundry, whatever. I mean, you're just bam, bam. And you're hearing that music in your house just playing, and or in your earbuds or whatever it is. I mean, it's going, it's happening. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, build, you know. And then when the day comes to an end, sit back, reflect for a little bit. Man, that day was tough, but you know, I did it. And it was okay. I'm not dreading tomorrow because, man, I was productive. I was on the ball. I was doing what needed to be done, and I did it. Something like that alone can create a positive mindset. Just being like, and I accomplished some serious stuff today. I did not think I would be able to get all that done. Give yourself the pat on the back. I mean, good golly, you've earned a pat on the back. By all means, give yourself one. Don't be like, oh, I didn't do that much. If you feel like you did what you could do in the time you had to do it, give yourself the pat on the back. That's all there is to it. Find the positive and build the positive. You know, you can do this. If you want, talk to other people around you. I mean, this isn't a you thing only. Include other people. Like I would say, how I ran into all these people at this recovery convention. I mean, it was amazing. There was so much positive energy, conversations, laughs, jokes, hugs, everything, just positive feelings, just oozing out of everything, you know? And nobody was sitting around getting drunk. Nobody was sitting around, doing all these drugs. It's a recovery convention. And it was amazing. I don't know if you guys are, doing recovery or not, or, if you're interested in it or not, but, it's around. You just have to figure out where to look for it. Sometimes Google has amazing things. Other times, you know, so does, other searches on your, Apple device or, whatever. I'm just throwing some ideas out there in case, some people need some positive support groups, and not all towns have those, but they do exist. Other people, um, go to a church, and find the positive, caring people in a church, that are interested in what you're doing, want you to be a part of. Hey, we're having a dinner, this Sunday evening, you got to come. Okay, cool. Well, I'll get out. I'll hang around with people that are enjoying each other's company, and hopefully I'll be one of those people enjoying other people's company. Get out and do some stuff. Don't sit there and expect, you're going to gain all this positivity through osmosis. You're not going to get it by sitting on your ass doing absolutely nothing. Some people are like, oh, I'm so much happier when I isolate and I'm by myself. Yeah, I'm. Maybe there are people like that. I don't know. I know I'm not one of them. I know I'm one of those people that want to be a part of, not apart from. I know I'm one of those people that, I love having, some of the people I work with, you know, I'm that are just showing so much engagement and positivity, and they're fired up for a lifestyle change. They want what they're feeling because they're feeling good. They're like, I need more of this, well, then you got to keep doing more of this instead of doing what you used to be doing because it did not work out good. A lot of people were allergic, to the illegal activities. They kept breaking out in handcuffs and felonies. So hopefully nowadays, they got their life turned around. Maybe some of them aren't quite there yet, but they're going to hopefully get there. I got to stay positive about that. I got to keep the positive. Because if we let the negative consume us, even when we have a good life, we have a nice house, we have a nice car, we have food, our bills are taken care of. Even when we have all that, if we're just on our pity pot, if we're just not trying to find any positive, all those great things that, feel good that we've earned, they don't make you happy. You got to make you happy. What are you going to do today to make you happy? Anyways, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. I hope that you start your day tomorrow thinking of 5 positive things that you're going to do tomorrow. When you get up, get out of bed, think of 5 positive things. Man, I'm going to have a freaking delicious breakfast, or I'm going to freaking eat on my diet. I'm going to go have a couple of donuts and a cup of coffee with a couple of friends before I head into work. I'm going to go exercise. Oh my gosh, exercise in the morning, not my cup of tea. I'm going to, I'm going to spend time with my significant other before we both got to go to work. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do some stuff and listen to these songs that lift me up and create, the energy and the positivity. I'm going to, I'm going to love on my pets. I'm going to, whatever. Think of 5 things. Do that for me tomorrow, please. Think of 5 things that'll make you feel that you believe are going to make you happy, that bring joy to your life. Think about it. See what you come up with. I want to hear about this. And if you like this episode or any of the other episodes, please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I really want to get a good following because I really want to hear the comments that you guys leave me down below. What can what can I do better? What can I improve on? Man, I love your stuff, man. I want to hear from you all because you guys help me. It's not just me trying to be there to help you. You guys help me too. That's a fact. So, you all have a fabulous evening. You all have a fabulous week. And I'll be back next week with another video. Talk to y'all later. Bye bye.